the right space because I'm just seeing it's me and you. Did the space start?
Okay, yeah, I think the link I shared initially had a problem, so I had to generate a new link, but it's the right space. I'm just waiting for the rest. I hope you can hear me.
Okay, I can hear you. I'm having trouble with
Okay,
my network. Yes.
all right.
If you see me out and coming back, don't mind.
All right. Oh, okay. Thank you, Monica, for finding time to be in this space, and also Steph from Box Girls for getting time. I think the rest are just going to join because if we wait more longer, it can maybe we us who are already here, we can just start on the discussion. I hope Monica, you can hear me.
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, Kish, I hope you're alert, right?
Yes.
Okay. I think Ivy and Effie, I had generated a new link because the other one was kept on crashing, and I don't know what's wrong with Twitter today. So I hope you forgive me for that. So I had to share them the link. I guess they are going to join. So you can just start the discussion pale ambapo watatupata, it will be okay. So today the topic of discussion being HIV and AIDS as the topic of the Twitter space. HIV on the rise. It means I've seen most media houses and most organizations and most NGOs. Most reports have been issued on the case of rising cases of HIV in Kenya post-COVID. So the cases of HIV in Kenya currently are so high. I saw a report that was published by Citizen TV a week ago. Also, the rise in HIV/AIDS in the slums. So and post-COVID, because with the COVID-19, it had several impacts. So some of them because people were in at home, the kids were at home, the teenagers were at home, so they were so much exposed to these things. So as part of the discussion, I'm Joshua, and I thank each one of you for joining today this conversation. um the introduction part, I think I shared I shared the questions to the Twitter space sometimes back, I think a week ago, as on what we will be deliberating on. So I guess we are not new to this so much. So we have a study by the National AIDS. We are on season 2 of the Ending Triple Threat campaign. So this is part 2 of the discussion we had initially. So it's just a continuation of the same. The other time we did the discussion, and now this one we are doing a discussion on HIV/AIDS. The last discussion will be on GBV, because we are also going from 25th. We are having the 16 days of activism, so it will be more efficient to have a discussion on GBV and SGBV on that time. So it is estimated, according to the National AIDS Council, that 98 new HIV infections occur every week between adolescents aged 10 to 19 years in Kenya. So question number 1, long time ago, as I used to grow up, I knew that HIV/AIDS is a thing for couples. It's a thing for big people. When I say big, I mean people who are already married. But nowadays, it's more on the youths. It's more on the adolescents. More adolescents are on ARVs. So the first question was, when did HIV/AIDS shift from? When was the shift? Or when did HIV/AIDS shift from being a core issue or a big issue among the adults and married couples to being a core issue among adolescents? Like, personally, from your own view of things, when do you think things started changing? Things started changing from adults being the big contractors of HIV to young people being the HIV contractor. What I always say, like, when did the rain start falling on us, so that it's the youths that are leading with the HIV infection in the country? So I'll give each one of us the opportunity to at least respond to that. What your own perception? When do you think this one started being a big issue among the youth and not among the let me take this opportunity to Stephanie is at the verge of disappearing anytime because of the network issues. So you'll go first and please give us your input about what you think.
Yes, thank you so much. So, in my own opinion, I'd say when it has become an issue is post-COVID was a really big hindrance, and a lot of teenagers were home doing nothing, so they spent a lot of time indulging in sexual practices, which is unsafe. Also, there's comprehensive knowledge on HIV. So I feel like if you even look at the statistics, girls who have HIV, the teenagers and adolescent girls and young women with HIV, they're not living around the city. Most of them are coming from marginalized communities. So there's no comprehensive knowledge in terms of contraceptives and etc. Also, sexual gender-based violence is also a very, very big issue that, yes, we will talk about it in the next space, but I also think that's something that has really, really been an issue when it comes to girls being raped, and even women in marriage, they're being raped by their boyfriend. There's some men who can't say no. So yeah, I think the three are the reason why we have cases of high cases of HIV amongst adolescents. Yeah, Joshua, could you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. I guess the rest could also hear you.
Okay,
so thank you. Yeah.
But
No, thank you. Yeah, so thank you for that presentation. So the key takeaway was on what you said is lack or little knowledge on HIV and lack of little knowledge on existence of contraceptives and lack of, we will say, civic education or that. So, Effie, when do you think HIV is shifted from being a case for adults to being a case for the youths and the adolescents? Hello, Effie, can you hear me? Maybe. All right. Let me give this opportunity to Monica, maybe to give us her insight about the case, the issue. Think maybe she has a technical issue. So, Monica, what do you think about the first issue?
Okay. What I think is, when it the sh- when it shifted from being an issue for the older people. So one, I would say it shifted because of the many children became orphans. So lack of parental guidance. Then there's economic vulnerability that promoted transactional sex. Yeah, I also blame it on COVID-19 when they were home for a very long time. Yeah, I will mention those. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that input on what you have said. For you, you think one that is on the bigger issue here is on COVID-19 and also the being orphans. So the kids or the adolescents did not have a better parental care, so they ended up doing things uh, because without guidance, you know. So that is what might have led to that, according to you. Yeah. So, Effie, can you hear me? Maybe if you can hear me, you can respond on the issue we are talking about right now. Right. I don't know what the problem is. Let me ask you, Monica and Stephanie. I think is it me today that have issues with network connection, issues with I don't know. I lost connection. Like the meeting was supposed to start at 7:30, but I had a I had a very like network ilikuwa imepotea. Saa hii pia naona nikijaribu time ambayo nilikuwa najaribu kutumia hiyo link ingine kuhost the meeting, again there was an issue with Twitter. So I don't know what's I think there's a very big technical issue today with the networks and everything. I think Effie amenitext amesema her phone is having a technical issue as she works on it. Thank you so much Stephanie for that, Stephanie and Monica for that. Leo haikai hata, to me it doesn't even look like a good day since I went to work in the morning and I came from work. Leo imekuwa tu na issues zake. So we have handled when HIV shifted from being a core issue among adults to married couples. We have given our insights. So the next question was what could have been some of the the second question just is a replica of the first question, like what could have been the cause of the shift, which we have said lack of knowledge, the COVID-19, the case of orphan and vulnerable children, and a lack of civic education for that case. So number three, in your opinion, do you think parents have been?
Excuse kidogo.
Yes.
The first question was kind of limiting because maybe you think you're answering your second question. So maybe I can add a bit for you
All
the
right.
first and question.
Okay, no problem. No
So,
problem.
okay, I can add that With time, girls feared getting pregnant than HIV, so they opted for the contraceptives that is not condom. So that will prevent pregnancy, but it would lead to contracting HIV. There is a fear of getting the limited access to treatment of STDs, so or the information, so they could not go for the treatment with their limited access. So maybe someone will not even know they are HIV positive, and then with that they can have sexual contact with other people, therefore spreading that. Then there is early childbearing. So there's that instance maybe because of sexual abuse, or just someone agreed for the sex, they bear a child early. So maybe they can see that it is okay to continue having sex without even checking their status. We said HIV infection. Another one is high risky behaviors such as drug and substance abuse. That could make these people vulnerable to HIV and AIDS. And then the disco matangas that ziko sana in the villages. We have gender power imbalance that promotes sexual abuse. And then maybe lastly, we have because at this age, they are sexually maturing. So there's that experimental age and peer pressure that makes them vulnerable to contracting HIV through sex. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Maybe Stephanie, do you have anything to add?
Not really.
Okay, it's okay, no problem. So the third issue was, in your opinion, do you think parents have been in the forefront in providing sexual education with regards to HIV and AIDS to teens and adolescents? And what is okay? The question here is, have the parents been performing their task of providing knowledge of sexual education to their kids with regards to HIV/AIDS? And two, we have children who are born with HIV/AIDS who have matured up and now are teens. So, what is the relief for kids that were born with the virus, that contracted the virus when they were born? They are now in the teenage stage. They have grown now at this point. So, what guidance should be provided to them? Somebody will say, oh, now because I was born with HIV and AIDS, so I have to make sure that I spread it. Maybe that mentality. And their parents will also tell their kids, because you have the virus now, kijana akikuletea mchezo ama msichana akikuletea mchezo, just do your stuff, because make sure you also share with others. So what do you think should be the way forward for those kids and for those youths and for those adolescents who are now are now matured, but at some point they were born with the virus? They never chose to be born with the virus. And do you think the parents at this point and at this stage of life, currently in this century we are in, AIDS? So I'll give the opportunity to Steph. Give us your insights about that, and then Monica will also do that.
Thank you, Joshua. So for me, I'd say not all parents are really trying to have conversations with their teenagers about sexual education, because I feel our parents are still conformed to the traditional way of taking care of us. So they're still shying away from telling us about sex and all that. So it's very rare for you to find a parent talking to their kids about sexual education, sexual transmitted diseases, because it's not just HIV. So I think not all parents, I'd say, if in my own statistics, I'll give it a 70%. Yeah. And as for the teenagers born with HIV, most of the teenagers, I've met with adolescent girls who have HIV during one of sit down conversation we were having in our organization, and almost all of them, I'd say all of them said they were born with HIV. But then when we met with their parents, they were like, no, so my girl, when she turned 12 years old, she started engaging with boys. So one of them was even infected by a Boda Boda guy. So I'd still say even the teenagers are still shying off from admitting to the fact that they, or to the fact that how they were infected with HIV. Yeah, that's my take.
Thank you so much for that. Monica, what do you think about the teens who are born with the virus? And do you think parents are providing civic education with regards to HIV and AIDS to the kids currently?
Okay, thank you. Okay. So I'd say not all, but 70 I think is high. For me, I'd say 70 is high, maybe 50 or even 40. So many parents shy off from talking to their kids. Maybe with this generation that tunaanza, maybe that can happen, but the older no. About the teens. So I've also worked with some NGO about HIV prevention and management. So those born with HIV and AIDS, if your parent is serious enough and maybe wants you to grow healthy, the first they'll give birth kwa hosi with the right if you follow whatever the doctor says, maybe the kid will become positive, negative. But then to the fact, when the child becomes positive, they'll start taking the drug when they're that young. So when they grow up, not grow, but through the process of your childhood and growing up, there's so many sessions these children have with, there are some counselors trained to talk to them, so at different levels. So they don't really understand it, but every time they take the drugs, they're being talked to. So I'm sure, for me, I'm sure if that parent is serious enough and maybe wants the child to be healthy and not spread that disease, they'll take that child to the hospital consistently, so they'll get the information. So they always cancel. So at the age of 18, 20, they're told that the moment you have a partner, the first thing you should discuss with that person is your status. So they either agree to continue the relationship or not. So I will say that is the relief. For me, that is the relief. So they should most if maybe a parent a lady is positive, they should try give birth for hosi, and with that they can really be helped throughout, na huyo mtoto pia atasaidika and they will not spread that the disease. Yeah, that's even. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much for that. Yeah, we've had your take. So, Steph had her own statistics about parents engaging in giving their children education, civic education, sexual education with regards to it. Sexual education is quite wide, but solely with regards to HIV and AIDS. I think most personally, I think Kenyans, we are very ignorant. I think the levels of ignorance is so high, and the government, I cannot say, but I think it's the rate of ignorance is so high. Sometimes back when I was in the University of Nairobi, I used to stay in Ngara. So anytime I used to chase classes because between Ngara and the University of Nairobi is quite a distance. So sometimes in the morning when I'm chasing for classes to go class ya saa moja, so I'll pass through. There's a place called River Road. It's in town, somewhere in town. So you pass through that place while you go to UN. So I used to get this. I don't know which respective name I can use, but people call them prostitute. These ladies. And one day I was so shocked. One boy who was my classmate at the campus alikuwa mbele yangu, so mimi nikaona kama there's a lady who, a very good looking girl, akamgrab. The lady grabbed the boy, alimvuruta tu hivi mkono. Sasa ule kijana naye akaenda, so mimi nilikuwa natokezea nyuma, so nikawapita. This guy was negotiating and I saw them wakiingia kwa, I think it's a room or it's an hotel, I don't know. That day weather ilikuwa inakaa kama hii weather ya sahii, kuna mvua, kuna baridi, and so the guy went. So when we went for graduation, I saw the guy because we were a big class. Sasa nikamwona, hii ilikuwa kama niko tabia, so we were almost graduating, went for attachments and all stuff. Now when I saw this guy during graduation ceremony, as in the life, mwili yake ilikuwa imeisha and all that. So I asked him what was going on, and he opened up and he said he contracted HIV. And I told him, is it the same day that I saw you talking to that woman? Ilikuwa asubuhi. I narrated the day, yeah, and he remembered that day. So I think it's the desire. So let me ask you, Stephanie, do you think the desire for the desire for sex, the desire for sex among growing people, among people who are growing, among youths, among adolescents, because at this point, the way Monica was saying the other day, most of these adolescents are now sexually active. They feel like they have to do sex. And personally, even as youths, there's a feeling that every Friday some people feel like every Friday I have to go hang out with friends, I have to go to club, I have to drink alcohol, or I have to get to a sleepover to my boyfriend, which is not wrong, which is just okay. But do you think we've reached to a level where we've become so ignorant? Like mtu msichana sahii akienda kutembelea boyfriend wake, and nowadays trust issues are so high and people cheat a lot, by the way. So wewe ukienda kutembelea boyfriend wako, you're so much cognizant about getting pregnant rather than contracting HIV. Do you think our ignorance, we can blame it on us being ignorant, or is it, do you think, let me ask this question. I don't think somebody can die without having sex, but or there is no certificate issued for that, but is it that the youths of the current days, now that we represent the youth at this conversation, that we have become so much ignorant about HIV, that we have put sexual sex as part of our daily routine? If we don't have it, we will die. So what, Stephanie, what do you think about that? Maybe because you get to work with girls and you know, the young girls, because mtu ambaye ako form 4 anataka akitoka shule, because they are going to close on 20th, most of them, first stop yake ni kwa nyumba ya boyfriend wake. They do what they do. So do you think ignorance is on the rise? Do you think people are just saying, they just say like they just say like, let me just go there, pregnancy is the big thing, or what is the issue right now? Stephanie, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can get you well and clear. So for me, I think my take is ignorance, yes, something like peer pressure, because if you have discussions with these girls, especially when I'm facilitating on SRHR, we give them a safe space so that they can speak. And when they're talking, they'll be like, hata heri kupata nini ukimwi kuliko cancer. You get, like, they're trying to compare diseases and situations, like heri nishike ukimwi, like lakini nisirudi kwetu na mimba. You get. So I think there is a lot of peer pressure with misinformation, and that's why I like to insist on comprehensive knowledge and peer credible information, especially to adolescent girls and young women, because when you go to the ground, you find out that they have so many information that is so wrong. Hadi unabaki hapo kama umeshtuka, like they will say something and my eyes will just pop out, because I'm like, what? You guys believe that? You guys think about that? was the same space I was having with the HIV victims. One of them told me there's something that is called undetectable is equal to untransmittable. Something of the sort is U is equals to U. So for girls or for anyone who is born with HIV, they definitely start medication at a certain age. So they live while taking medications. So it reached a point where when they go to get tested, the virus cannot be detected. So they can have sex even when it's unprotected, and they can't transmit it. So I once sat with a doctor to confirm that, and they said, yes, sometimes it cannot be detected, but that does not mean it can't be transmitted. But when you go to the ground, you find out that the information yenye iko huko ni once I get tested na haiko detectable, it means I've been taking my ARVs well. It means now the virus is gone. But the virus is not gone. It is just suppressed. You get. So I think misinformation, peer pressure, and ignorance too.
Okay, I don't know if it's a technical issue. Effie, I would request maybe if your phone is done with the technical aspect of it that was bringing the problem, you
Sure.
can just yes,
Did you get me?
yeah, just continue. You just vanished.
Oh, I vanished.
Yeah.
Oh my
Did you
god.
finish what you're saying?
No, she
Um,
didn't vanish. She finished whatever she was saying.
yes,
The
I
network.
finished. I think I finished.
Okay.
I talked about peer pressure. I talked about U is equals to U. I talked about ignorance, and I talked about misinformation. I hope the rest got me.
Yeah, I hope so. Monica, I hope you got her, maybe as you're going to respond to that.
Oh yeah. I got whatever she said. So I also add on I don't know if it's ignorance, but yeah, ignorance about no, not ignorance. I'll say the patients who get the undetectable, the zero viral load. Yeah, so I've also had a case where there's this girl who was raped by bad luck, but then she contracted the HIV. So at first she was taking drugs so well, and then it went undetectable. And then she went to the doctor. It was see when it's undetectable, it's 0 0 because the viral load is 0. So she thought she doesn't have the virus. Then she went to some lady. No, she was staying with some old woman who said she prayed for her. Now she doesn't have the virus. So this girl at 12, she stopped taking drugs. But then we realized this at 16. Now she's even pregnant and she has the virus. And she refused, she doesn't have it. We went to the doctor. Up to now, she has refused taking the drugs. Now she gave birth, so we don't even know what to do because we've gone to so many doctors for that. So there's that ignorance and about the 0 0 viral load. Yeah, I will also blame it on again drug and substance abuse. So I also have some business next to some club. I see what happens every weekend. So once people are so when a lady gets in, she looks so smart, a young girl. Akitoka anabebwa, she doesn't even know who is carrying her. So una imagine where atajipata wapi the next day, and I'm sure the sex itakuwa involved, but she won't be able to even request that person to use CDs. So it's a lot apart from ignorance. I don't know what we can do about it, but yeah, that's what I'll say. And then for the parents, it's I think parents have not made it easy for kids to talk about this. things to them. So first, parents should make the kids their friends, and maybe if any time they want to talk about an issue, they can easily confine in them, but that maybe can help. Ndio unaona wengine wanasema afadhali ende home bila ball, because the way the parents react, African parents, afadhali, by the way, they can, that's whatever they say, I think it's true. So we need so much advocacy to the parents. So yeah, maybe that will help. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I think I've received messages from Ivy and Joel. I don't know why they're having a problem to connect to the meeting. I think maybe their phones have issues. I really don't know, but I hope they will make it. So the next issue was in your own words, can you say the government has done enough in the fight against HIV/AIDS? Now that we are only a month ahead to celebrating the World AIDS Day for those CSO that work with HIV positive. So we are marking World AIDS Day 2022 in 1st December. Yeah. So would you say the government has done enough, or is it all about just coming and celebrating World AIDS Day and things just go back to normalcy? Or is it just about government giving out free condoms? Or do you think the government has really done enough, or much should be done so that the menace on HIV can be fought from both sides, from both the individual perspective, the CSO's perspective, the NGO's perspective, and the bigger elephant in the room, that being the government? So on your own perspective, and since as you grow up, because you're big people, and you studied about HIV and AIDS and government interventions. But on your own, would you say that the government has done enough, or there's more that needs to be done? And if there's more that needs to be done, if you are in the shoe of a minister of health, a CEC of health in a county government, what would you do so that your county, like for now, we say that the most prone counties on HIV/AIDS, we have Homa Bay County, Migori County, Kisumu County, and Siaya. But the ones that are so much are Homa Bay, Kisumu, and Siaya that are leading in HIV/AIDS currently. I heard Nyamira is also following in that list. So, what do you think the government has done enough? And it's us individuals and individuals who are not doing what is needed of us, or there is more that the government can do? And if there is, what do you think the government can put in place? I happen to sit in the county executive committee for health, Kisumu County, and so we also brainstorming on what issues we can do so that we curb the issue of HIV and AIDS increase among the youths and the adolescents. So if in your own take, if you think the government has not done much, then what do you think the government do? And by what scale do you think the government has advocated for the cases for HIV and AIDS rise? So Stephanie, could you please just tell us what you think about that? Maybe.
Hi, so I hope everyone can get me clearly.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So my take on this, I think the government has done something. It's definitely not enough, but they have done something in terms of policy and legal environment to accommodate adolescent girls and young women. So I'd say there is one policy that they came up. Okay, so there are many, but I'll speak on the one that I know of. So there's Kenya AIDS Strategic Framework, and there's also Kenya HIV Prevention Roadmap. So for the Kenya AIDS Strategic Framework, the government came up with this guidelines so that they can be able to reduce new HIV infections among adolescent girls, and to also reduce stigma and discrimination. So I think with that, in terms of the policy, even when you check Vision 2030 and even the Constitution of Kenya, they're really trying to adopt a national and international commitment of adolescent girls so that they can be able to accommodate control and reduce even new infections. So for me, they have done something, but we're not yet there because the government always comes up with policies. But when it comes to time to implement them, then we have a problem because there are so many policies. But in terms of implementation, there is zero implementation. So yeah, they're doing something, even in terms of free condoms, and there is something that they're trying to do in terms of contraceptives so they can reduce the prices of contraceptives to accommodate even a common monage. Yeah, so that's my take. They're doing something, but we are not yet there. I hope you all got me.
Yeah, we were able to hear you. Thank you so much for that. So, Monica, what do you think? Do you think the government has done enough? And if not, what do they need to do?
Okay, enough. Not yet, because it's enough if there's no more infections and reinfections. So it has done something, because the government has partnered with I think some organization like NASCO in having these HIV facilities in the hospitals. For example, Russia can do so with the hospitals. There's HIV prevention and care. People are able to get drugs through the same hospitals with the longitudinal department that helps in HIV management. You can see there's prevention of mother to child transmission during birth. You can see there's they give out condoms, the information, yeah, and also the government is helping in fighting mental health, because when people are when people's mental health are okay, maybe they'll know what to do. Also, I came across some document, it's a HR document where Kagwe, Ministry of Health, they came up with the adolescent. It's for adolescents, so it's like the adolescents can read it, so it has information on sexual reproductive health rights from adolescents to HIV, everything, abstinence and everything. So I would say they've done that too. Also, I will add that the government is now, through the government or the county government, they're working closely with the local CBOs in advocating for these, for yeah, advocating for either mental health or something else that helps adolescents. And if they're helped, I know that can be reduced. Alafu we have, maybe my problem is on the issue of menstrual products. So, because we can see that economic when the children are not economically well, or the families, they tend to go for transactional sex for the pads or other things. So for the menstrual, the pads. So mostly people say there are pads in schools, and reality is there are no pads in school. So maybe when they should uh, make sure this program is ongoing in schools. This will be one of the ways that will help young girls from engaging in transactional sex, that will reduce HIV infection. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I think the government has done something, but we are not there. Let's see. We have only like 8 years to the achievement of Vision 2030, and combating HIV is one as enlisted as the of AIDS-free society as enlisted in the Vision 2030 plan. So we hope for the best. But now, what really mesmerizes me is now instead of cases of HIV going down, now they're increasing. In fact, now it's so worse. It pained me like a day ago. We were planning to have a sanitary menstrual hygiene day um, for our kids, for those who are coming from for holiday, the ladies. And so as I was looking at the documentary and the last report we compiled, and the pictograms, the pictures, and all the stuff. So I came to realize that we had a mass menstrual hygiene day, and we always do that every term for the girls. So about 150 girls, because where I come from, Kisumu County, we have several sub counties, but for the girls that are under our care, so we tend to provide these sanitary packs when they are coming from school, like now, because some of them live under very tough conditions. So the 1 month is there, maybe it's gonna be hard for them to get these menstrual products. So we give, and then when they are going back to school, we also do that. So as I was going through the photos, I came to realize that the ladies, the girls, three of the girls that appeared in the photo for the last event we did, I happened to meet them. They have been sent away from school because they were going on a boarding school, so they are pregnant. And one of them, the parent told me that she went to clinic and she's pregnant and she has HIV and AIDS. So it really pained me, and I said, like, these are Form 2 kid. Like, where did we go wrong? What is really happening? And I know the funniest thing with ladies, even if you're a parent and you have a child who is a girl and they are pregnant, it's very hard for them to tell you who is the person responsible for that. So I really felt that pain. So even as Kenya is battling to yield Vision 2030 of an AIDS-free society, okay, it's achievable, yes, but at um this rate, I saw somebody was trying to petition do a certain petition to the High Court that the pornographic sites in Kenya be banned so that kids are not able to access this. I think that is a good way to do. But now there are people who are even doing pornography shooting in Kenya, and there are ladies who are being paid for that. They go, they do what they do, they get paid for it. So I don't know, like, the efficiency in this, and I don't know. I think Monica and Steph, you work with the girls just as the same way I do, but I think sasa wewe Steph unaweza kutueleza vizuri kwa sababu kule Nairobi ni kunoma sana. So how do you, like, in a case where one of your OVC has contracted HIV/AIDS or is pregnant, like, what do you do? Because mimi nami as in I felt the pain for this kid, but now nikimleta kwa forum ambayo wanafunzi wenzake watakuwa, ataaibika because she will suffer the stigma. Okay, she's pregnant, the others are not pregnant, but she is one of our OVC. We are caregivers to her. So I don't know. And by the way, since we launched the organization 2 years ago, we have never had such a case. I don't know. Maybe Steph, how do you handle children who get HIV and AIDS at Box Girls? Do you remove them from the program, or how do you do? Because even removing them from a program is also another issue. Lakini ni makosa ambayo amefanya, kwa sababu sisi tunawafundisha kila siku, lakini sasa akifuala nje ingine, najua inauma, by the way. So how do you handle that? Because I was sitting today with the board members, and we were getting to resolutions on how to handle this. We have never had this case. So maybe if I hear from you how you handle this case with OVCs who get pregnant and who get pregnant, in fact, and we pay for their fees. It's very, very painful. So how do you at Box Girls handle this issue? Maybe.
But can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I can hear you. I guess Monica can hear you too.
Okay. So for us, I think the rest of the organization is we start with a girl at the age of 8, and they grow in the program. So we take them to a boxing and life skills curriculum when they're from ages of 8 to around 11. And then once they hit teenagehood, we change the curriculum to the reproductive health and rights curriculum. So once a girl gets pregnant, because we've had so many cases like girls getting pregnant in the program, so we don't remove them from the program. What we do, there's a program for young mothers. So when a girl gets pregnant, definitely they won't want to be part of other girls kwa session. They'll be shy, they'll feel the stigma, ai kwa nini. And then most of them, if you look keenly, when they get pregnant, they step out of school kwanza, and even most of them don't go back to the same school. We don't work with all school. Let's teach them in the community through a program in young girls community zones. So the for young moms, we put them together. They share experiences of how they got pregnant, was journey tough, which challenges did they experience, and then we also take them to another curriculum, yes, SRHR, ile ina accommodate young moms. They're also given food products, facilitators or different sessions. Yeah, so we don't remove them from the program. We advance them to a different even wenye wana decide no go to school, we want to drop out, wanasumbua home, so we remove them from the normal program because we are like maybe there is a gap kwa hii whatever we have been teaching them, so that program for girls have dropped out of school, tuna try kuongelea through the community and then we bring them to school. Yeah, so we just tailor make programs to accommodate girls.
Okay, thank you for that. But this side, the organization is, Raise My Hope Community Project is more founded on Christian principles, and so this is the first cases we are having. But thank you for that. We'll see on how to handle that. It's not my plea. Like we kuteleza sio kuanguka. I'll say maybe, but I don't know. One of my directors was saying, like, you can never say unless you are raped, but getting pregnant, he was saying that fucked a woman. He was saying like sex is a process. It goes on from a source. There's no way somebody will tell her that it was an accident. But we'll see to that. Monica, what can you say about that? What do you think? Like if it were you, now you are the final decision maker on such a case, what would you propose, or what will you say? Maybe.
Okay. What I would do maybe is what do I do? If I had the chance, yeah, I would allow that girl to give birth, then maybe come back to the program. Maybe to you, I would, if you base maybe kwa Christianity sana, I will say maybe you can refer to another organization that can help her. Alafu you cannot have the same girl for the same program wenye wajakuwa pregnant are, because maybe it will mean encouraging this. So if we can separate and have a different program venye nani amesema jina from box girls, so yeah, that will work where you separate the programs but umtoi kabisa nika unamtupa, you help by then you should help take that lady to the hospital if she's HIV positive, and through counseling she aanze kuchukua dawa, because maybe at first she won't accept even taking the drug. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, this is a very general question. I think some of you have had friends, have had sisters who have been pregnant. Why is it always so hard to Why is it always so hard for ladies to? This is out of context, but I would really like to know. Why is it always so hard for ladies to tell their parents or their caregivers who is responsible for their pregnancy? Why do they like keeping it to themselves? Like, ni aibu ama ni nini? Like, what is always the big issue here? Stephanie, what is always the big issue here? Why would a lady choose to hide the identity of the person responsible for their pregnancy?
I think for me, it's the relationship between the girl and the parent, because not every girl finds to have a conversation with parent. So there are some parents wanakuanga so accommodative, they start creating a space for you, because the moment mamako haja create a safe space for you, there is no way you will have to go nje, then you come and think of your mom the first thing. You will have to talk to friends, za kuuliza beshte yako, maybe beshte yako atakwambia ni ball, twende nikuonyeshe ya mpaka utaki kufika home. Ni ukedi, fanya hivi na hivi na hivi na hivi, you get. So I think parents, there's the determinant is just the relationship between the and the parent, because the moment a parent may create a good space, then the girl feel free to just, when they have an issue, they'll be like, let me just call my mom first before I make a decision. Yeah, so the determinant is just the relationship.
Okay, thank you so much for that.
Okay.
The listen. Oh, yeah, just go on.
Okay, for me, I would say apart from your parent kuogopa mzazi, we have the fact that maybe that the person who is responsible was not even ready to either take up the responsibility of that child. So the fear of atafanyiwa nini, because maybe that person is not even ready, or maybe that the person is also underage, so the fear of not knowing what to do. Yeah, thank you. Hivyo.
Thank you so much. Mwaura, if you really want to add something on the conversation, you can just request to speak, so I'll give you an opportunity to speak. So the next issue is we have tackled whether the government has been enabled, or rather has been able to put necessary measures, and to what extent. So the other issue is now all of us went to school. We went through primary. I think it's grade 4 where we learned about what HIV/AIDS is, HIV, the acronym HIV, the meaning of the acronym AIDS. And when we went to, as we progressed, we did it HIV in grade 4. And then there was no any point until we reached in grade 8, where we were doing grade 7 myths and misconception about HIV and AIDS with regards to drug and substance abuse. And then high school now, it was very different. For those who did CRE, they had to do it as part of the religious African heritage. I think the last topic in Form 4. But for us who did physics, we never even met, because we didn't do biology, any part of HIV in biology. But what do you think is the role of schools and education institutions with regards also to the curriculum? Do you think the government should implement a curriculum that fosters more, like 30%, also on HIV knowledge, so that we increase the availability of information with regards to HIV? And what do you think is also the role of schools? Because we have schools and we have most institutions like high schools, they have guidance and counseling. What guidance and counseling teachers think is about counseling a kid who doesn't want to go back to school, counseling a kid who is always crying all the time, counseling a kid who is performing poorly, and little or no information is given with regards to such STIs, HIV, issues to do with the gender-based violence, rape, and all the stuff. So what do you think schools should do in other institutions like the university? University is unless you go to a Catholic university, but for these universities, UN, KU, and all this, is a free world. You do what you want, you dress how you want, condoms are everywhere in the washrooms and all the stuff. So for us to achieve an AIDS-free society as envisioned in the Vision 2030, and also to end the triple threat that is also eating the country right now. So the schools, primary schools, high schools, we don't want a case where a representative from organizations come to request for permission to conduct a sensitization exercise to kids. And this one, maybe one organization will come and do a sensitization exercise to kids, and then it will cross over until the next time where another organization will come to that. If not, that school will survive like that. And schools in marginalized areas like in rural, they don't get access to such things. So what do you think the school should do? Do you think the government should also incorporate it in part of the syllabus as a way of combating HIV, as a way of realizing Vision 2030, an AIDS-free society? Let me give this opportunity to Mwaura. Maybe you can also respond to that if you can hear me, maybe. All right, I don't know. I think, Stephanie, you are able to hear my explanation. Hello? And all this. Yes.
You can hear me?
Yeah, just continue.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to talk about two things very quickly. And one has to do why the HIV AIDS in Kenya is on the rise, and two, what can be done and is not being done. One, I think the reason as to why there is a huge rise in HIV in Kenya has got to do with the economical situation that is happening in Kenya. And unless we correct that one, I think this thing is going to keep on rising. Let me give you an example. I saw a documentary there in Kilifi and another areas like in Ukambani, whereby you get very young girls getting these pregnancies. And when you ask those girls what's the problem, most of them are marginalized. Those they don't have even food to eat or anything to do or to go into school. Yes, you can give these girls sanitary pads, and that's something I would like to thank the organizers that are doing that in Kenya for provide. But you should know that this is not the only need that girls have. I hear of cases whereby you get a girl, maybe in Form 1 or Form 2, living maybe where she stays, the school is about 6 kilometers away, and she has to go early in the morning, come back in the evening. And when she was leaving in the morning, there was no breakfast. And the whole day in the school, she stay on a hungry stomach. Now, such a girl, if she gets a border rider who will buy her lunch or something small to eat, why wouldn't she go to have sex with that border rider? So it's not only a question of about providing sanitary pads. No, that's not the only issue. It has got to do with the very hard and harsh economic situation that in Kenya we are currently going through. So I think until we do that one, we make sure that most families are aware of to do. They are economically, they are able. We can provide for your daughter who is in class, who is in primary school, in secondary school. Until we do that, I think there's nowhere we are going very far. So the first thing should be reduction of poverty in Kenya. We make our economic situation a bit better. So what I think should be done, I've stayed in developed world, and I have a friend who is a director of HIV/AIDS in one of these Western world, and I asked him one question: why is it that here the percentage is not that high? And the answer he gave me was what I am likely that we can now do in Kenya. Now he told me that in every city, a village or what, there is an organization that specifically deals with HIV/AIDS, and what they do, they go in every school term. They go like 3 or 4 times. They educate those. These are people who are highly trained on prevention of not only HIV but also gonorrhea, syphilis, and others. They educate those students. They educate them on university, on high school, and also in the primary school, those who are from 10 and going upwards, and they show them the condoms and everything they can do. They also sometimes those staff who are paid by the Ministry of Health. And even you go to night club and educate the youth and everything and all those young people like that. And that's why you see the AIDS and the number of those girls getting HIV is very, 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 very low. Although in this country, economically people are aware of, but that's not enough. You must educate the people on how they can prevent themselves from getting those diseases, because they are told that it's not only about HIV, it's also other venereal diseases that you can also get. So that is what is lacking in Kenya. We have people who are committed to make sure that every time they go to primary school, they teach, they go to secondary school, they teach, even to university, they teach. They are paid by the government or the county government, and that becomes their work. That one, the HIV rate will completely come down. But also, without the first number one, what I said, economic situation being improved, nothing these things would come down. Because if you see, if somebody is hungry, if a girl is hungry, no matter the kind of education you give this girl, don't think that those who have gotten pregnant don't have a doubt or gotten HIV don't have. They have heard about it. They know the dangers. They know everything. But you know, a hungry stomach for sure cannot roll it wrong. You see? So somebody will see, okay, let me just take this money from this man who is offering me this money. I sleep with him. Maybe I would, and you know, some men who how they are, maybe they don't want to use condom or such kind of things. You get that person gives, I think that girl with HIV, gives that girl pregnancy. So the first thing is to tackle the very harsh economic reality that we are having in Kenya. And number two, we should have such a program whereby in primary school, secondary, wherever, many people should be going there like 2 or 3 times in a term and educate those here. Not only girls here in this world country, that's what country where I live. Not only girls, also boys are educated. Don't do this, and girls also educated. Don't do this. And when you get all of them across the board getting such education, the boy will be knowing the danger, the girl will be knowing the danger of getting HIV, and they try to protect themselves. But until we improve the economic situation, nothing much is going to happen. And thank you for holding the space. Asante, nimemaliza. Pengine kama nitarudia kuongea kitu kingine, wacha niachie mwingine aongee.
Sawa, asante sana for that. So, Steph, you're next. Stephanie, can you hear me? All right. Maybe Monica, before Stephanie comes up, you can just continue, maybe.
Okay, so the way Maura said, improving the economic conditions will be really great, and I think the CBC with the skill-based learning, if maybe they grow up learning through your skill project-based, they'll learn a lot of projects maybe that can help them come up with get the finances, because making everyone economically stable at once is so hard, so it will be a process. Another one is constant reminder on HIV and AIDS. So yeah, we have the guidance and counseling, but they're not working. So I think the guidance and counseling heads are teachers from the specific school. So my opinion is we should just have we should have people responsible for that specific area, guidance and counseling, but they should not be teachers, because the way you said teachers just know guidance and counseling to students who drop out of school. So yeah, they should be people employed to take up those clubs in schools. Also, we have these schools that maybe you go request for a chance to talk to their kids, the students, but they tell you they want a letter from maybe the government or the county government. So I think the school health should also allow these organizations to mentor these girls and boys, and also there's more advocacy on girls, and we forget that boys are also the cause of this. So as we continue empowering girls, let's also empower boys to know how to live with these ladies. Maybe that will also help. Thank you. That's what I have.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Maybe Stephanie, if you can hear me, you can take the space.
Hi, can you me? I've been trying to they had Monica speak, then I was 100% sure my network is bad.
That way I can hear you right now.
Also, we are talking in terms of the schools, right? So
Yeah,
for me,
exactly.
so for me, I think I don't remember me learning HIV in primary. It was just that all of the science bit of it. So I think again, maybe they should actually separate it and add it as a subject in school from primary, then we come to high school, we learn about it, because in primary school it was life skills, and then there was the science bit of it, and then when you went to high school, now the life skills was changed in cancer. And I'd say the most I learned about HIV was in uni, because it was like a subject on like a own unit on its own. So I think the way they have tailored it in university, maybe they can use it too in primary, because less is learned in primary, and I think that's when more should be learned. So that's my take.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Yeah, thank you so much for that. So the next thing, what is the role of, we have activists, we have CSOs, we have NGOs, so many of them in the country. And as Maura was saying, the big issue here is poverty that is eating up people and leading people to these problems and all the stuff. The government has also tried its part by, I always ask myself, what if one day the USAID, the US support to people living with HIV and AIDS in Africa cuts the support, so there's no ARVs. I know that one, it's not something I would want to happen, but what if that happens? How prepared is the government? Let's, for this case, how prepared is the government of Kenya to respond to HIV without necessarily depending on donor donations? Like, like at this rate, the ARVs are being donated by USAID. What if they cut their support one day? What if they get another president who is not so much accommodative to say, no, we are not going to do this to Africa again? They have to stand up, because Africans are demanding a lot. It's just Kenya, Africa as a continent is demanding a lot from the Western side. So maybe that one we cannot say, but it might happen one day. So how is the government prepared to handle that? So my question is, what is the role of civil society organization, NGOs, individual perspective in the fight against HIV and AIDS in Kenya? Stephanie, what do you think is your role as an individual? What do you think is your role as Box Girls Kenya in combating HIV and AIDS?
As an individual, I'd say amplify about of patient, about the information that we've learned, to sensitize the wrong information that's on the ground. That is my role as an individual. Our role as an organization is to definitely come up with comprehensive knowledge and information, and to also have it accessible to everyone for free, so that they can be able to learn more about people living with HIV, so that maybe we can stop new infections. And also my role as a facilitator is to ensure that I reach out to more adolescent girls who mashinani. Once you meet for me, what I do anytime I'm with an adolescent girl or even a boy, I tend to have conversations about sex. More conversations about sex, just to get, what do you think about sex? Do you think it is a must as a teenager? Because the sex drive is high, so I tend to have more conversations with them, try to correct what they think is right and it's wrong. And I also work, so we have a SRHR curriculum book, so I also try to work with it. If I find an adolescent girl, I'll give it out for free. I'm like, just go read it the way you read a novel. So yeah, that's all. As an individual, as a CSO, as a facilitator. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Maura, what do you think is your role as an individual in the fight against HIV?
Well, me, I think my fight as an individual, Now, what I can do for myself is just maybe to contribute money to organizations that are fighting this thing. Because for me, I'm a very, very busy person. I do a business across about 4 continents, doing business and this. So my role can be just to give money, maybe to such an organization that can help prevent these people, help in fight against HIV. And that's where my visit or my talk with this director of this HIV organization in this one or in one of the Western world country came in, because I donate money to that organization. So my company donates money to that organization. So that's what me myself as an individual can do, because I cannot have that much time to sit down with people, tell them A, B, C, D. But I think this is a chain. It is a chain that requires all of us to put our hearts together and to put efforts together. So I think my part, what I normally do is just to give money and help, and so that it can go to funding those people who are helping people understand what is HIV and how they can prevent it. I think that's going to be my part.
Okay, thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
I now the last part. I think we have had the media houses, Citizen TV, NTV, and all the media houses in Kenya, bringing us into the limelight of the effects of HIV, what HIV has done to the economy, and adolescent post-COVID and all this stuff. But what do you think, in addition to covering of the cases of HIV rise and all the stuff, and in addition to providing information to the general public, what do you think again is the role of the media? Just as now we have drought, and the media has been used. I saw there's a case of the drought issue. Now, because that case in Turkana, the feeble kids that were appeared in Citizen TV, they got help for that. So through the media. Now, in the fight against HIV, in addition to providing the information to the public, what else do you think the media can do apart from just bringing it on our screen to see? Which part do you think the media can also take part in the fight against HIV, so that the Ending Triple Threat campaign becomes a success and we achieve Vision 2030 on an AIDS-free society? Monica, I hope you heard me. What do you think is the role of the media, apart from just telling us stories of the counties that have high HIV prevalence and all the stuff? What do you think the media can do in addition to that? Monica, if you can hear me. Okay, I think maybe he has a technical issue.
Okay.
Stephanie. Okay, just go on.
Okay. What they can do? Mostly what I see is after maybe airing the issue, upon the issue in Asia, so they should be continue follow up. So there should be a follow up. They can follow up, and through the follow up, they refer. Because I don't think there's much they can do. Is the airing, the follow up, and referring of these the information they get. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Stephanie, what do you think the media can do in addition to just covering content and bringing it onto our screens? What is the role of media?
I call media houses powerhouses because they have the loudest voice than even the CSOs huku kwa ground. The moment they show an issue, then a lot of people pick it up. Yeah, so I think Monica amesema about following up and definitely. So I think another thing maybe they can do is do donor funding, as Maura had also said, because funds is also an issue kwa ground. Unaweza pata like there's so good initiative, but they lack funds to spread their. So maybe donor funding, because our media houses are very developed na zishasimama, so maybe Yeah.
Okay, Joshua, I'll add on one thing. So to see how that media is wide. So not just what your newsroom, because at some point even is the news they air imekuwa there's a way zimekuwa it's maybe it's not the real thing that is really happening. So because they're being owned by people who maybe don't want that issue to be aired. So there's also citizen journalism where just random people can use to either advocate, campaign, or yeah, and a lot is done through Facebook, Twitter to reach out to so many people else apart from the media houses. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Maura, what do you think the media can also do apart from just bringing it on our screens on the cases of HIV?
Yes, I think the media plays a very key role and can play a very key role in the prevention of HIV. Apart from the fact that they are listened in every corner of the country, people know them. I think they can also organize programs. Let's say let's say to go to let's say to Turkana, they go to Kilifi, they go to Bugoma, and they interview people there. They carry program in such places. They show us such cases because if you see how they have been doing in the media houses. Maybe you get like one documentary after 8 or 9 months, or even one documentary in a year in the reading media houses. But I think they can do more than that. They can dedicate, let's say, every month we will be covering one county. How HIV is rising among the school children, among the people, and they carry that like in one county, they carry like 3 or 4 sub counties in that one county. They interview people, they bring those young girls, they interview them and such kind of things. And that way, and they'll be saying next time if we are in Embu, next time we are going to Kiabu, or in Kiabu next time we are going to let's say Marsabit. And if they do that, people will be waiting. They'll be knowing on every last Saturday of the month, a certain county is being covered on how HIV is spreading, what can be done to stop it, and such kind of things. If they can do that, I'm sure that there are a lot of awareness will be spread among the people. And also, they show the importance of people being tested and knowing their status. They can play a very key role in that area. They just go to one place, they show that how people are being tested, and everything. They interview those people, they interview the consulars, the consular will address the media, say, okay, just come, we'll keep your status private and this, because most people fear stigma. But if the councils I assure them on the media that we are going to keep them private, this and this and this, many people will volunteer. And I'm sure they are very good people who they know if they are positive, they won't try and affect anybody. So I think a lot of information is still lacking, and the media can play a very key role in passing out the information to people. Thank you. I think that's a key role they can do. And also they can donate to people like you who are trying to go under in the grassroots and help. Most media houses in Kenya are very rich. They can just put on some donation to them.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Yeah, so it's exactly 22 minutes past 9. And let me take this opportunity to appreciate those of us who have been with us, though some of our speakers had technical issues. But the last part, and I will also request Maura, maybe I'll follow you right away, and I'll maybe so that I engage in the next conversation we are having against on the topic sexual and gender-based violence as our last topic for under the ending triple threat campaign. So, Steph, what can you give us your last remarks, even as we wind up?
This was a very interactive. So maybe one recommendation, if you can allow me, please.
Oh, okay, no problem. Just proceed.
Yeah. So the next time we are having conversations on HIV and AIDS, maybe I think we should bring a representative who has HIV and AIDS, maybe a teenager, maybe we include an adolescent girl. We source out from and we buy them credit because definitely we don't want to stress them up, and then they can join in the conversation so that we can get a perspective as a teenager, as an adolescent girl who is living with HIV.
Thank you so much. And I was working on that, and so the next conversation we are going to have, we are going to have a survivor of gender-based violence who has undergone it to that extreme. So thank you so much for that. It's welcomed. So Monica, what will be your final sentiments, even as we wind up?
Okay, so I will also say that this was a great, for me, it was an educative, it was so educative, and I love the conversation. Also, another recommendation, maybe we should include inclusion. Tunasema inclusion, but we don't do that. At least person with disability. I know you can identify one person who can always be the just. So we can always also get perspective of that. Yeah, because pia kuongelelea watu is harder. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for your proposals. We'll put that in place. And Maura, now that you joined like some times back and you had a contribution, maybe if you have a word to share as we
Yes.
wind up.
Yeah. Thank you for hosting the space. And you disappeared. I don't see you hosting the spaces anymore. But I hope you'll be active next year. What I would like to say is just to thank you, people who are on the forefront of fighting this HIV/AIDS. And if care is not taken, generations are perishing. And you have asked a very good question, and I've really liked it. Suppose tomorrow, USAID says is no longer giving us this medication, what will happen to Kenya? Is a question I'd like everyone to go and think about it seriously, because you never know. Today they are giving us, tomorrow they can say hata nyinyi sasa mujipange, my friend. The USAID can say that, and I don't want to imagine of them saying something like that, but is there is a possibility. So I'd like us to think, and that is where my first point when I had spoken, I had said, let's try to empower ourselves economically. If we empower ourselves economically, then if buying this HIV won't be a problem. And also, even if they are being produced in Kenya, those drugs that are produced in Kenya, it won't be hard to buy them or to distribute them for free. So thank you very much, you people, and keep the fight. It's a fight that cannot be lost, and I'm sure we will win it at the end of the day. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you, Steph. Steph, I saw you shared a poster sometimes back about an event you're having. Have you had the event yet, or is when you're planning to have it on the boxing?
Yes, so you're welcome if you'll be within Nairobi next week. We are having a boxing tournament. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, so we are having a boxing tournament for the junior championship. It is dubbed the Equality. So we are fighting in the sports, especially boxing, because it is always stereotyped as a male sport. So the doors will be open. The location is Nairobi. I know some of you don't come from Joshua. So it will be Nairobi at Rising Angel Academy. It's in Ruaraka. Also, Joshua, I'll be in Kisumu
Yes.
from December date 1, I think, up to date 4. So we also have a in Kisumu. I'll be attending. So maybe I think we should meet up, and we can all think about the way forward in terms of HIV. Maybe we can come up with tool or something. We can just think around the issue here, all of us. Yeah, so that would be great.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, okay. Just maybe after this, you share with me the poster for the tournament and my WhatsApp, so that I also share with the friends, the CSOs that I have in Nairobi that can come for the event. I guess that one will be so better. So, Monica, also thank you so much for this. I hope to see you in the final conversation on SGBV. Maura, you'll allow me after this. I'll send you. I don't know if you have an inbox on your account, but I needed your contact so that the next time you can also join us the conversation if it's okay with you. Is it?
Yeah, I
Okay.
have no problem. You can even inbox me and we talk, and you even give me your WhatsApp number. I'm very free. You can do that.
All right. Thank you so much. Asanteni sana. May God bless you. God bless you, Monica. God bless you, Stephanie and Box Girls Kenya. God bless you, Maura, and also we hope for the best. Thank you so much. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you, and you all have a good night.
Yes.